Imagine having the social skill to impress people, display positive characteristics that are likely to be attractive, and get what you want in the most subtle, elusive, and effective way. A strong set of social skills enables you to interact, relate to, and connect with others. This skill is useful for forming connections and navigating your way through life smoothly and happily. These following techniques are moral and meant to be wielded responsibly. If you're responsible enough to handle these tricks, let's dive into it. 9 Attractive Social Tricks. 1. Intelligence. This is the first move and the most important trick on the list: gathering information and intelligence. Intelligence can provide insights not available elsewhere that warn of potential threats and opportunities. Psychologically speaking, narcissism is a personality trait that every person possesses to some degree. Like any characteristic, it exists on a spectrum. We all fall somewhere along the narcissism continuum. To leverage this knowledge, you can study their passions and desire beforehand and read further about them. One technique is to let them talk about themselves and ask open-ended questions. This will make them feel better. At the same time, you'll gain more knowledge about them. For example, if they like hiking, search good hiking place and you will create a common ground for topics to discuss and relatable experiences. This will make it easier for you to get along well and comfortably. One study found that similarity was a strong predictor of attraction in the early stages of a relationship because similar others are more likely than dissimilar others to possess opinions and worldviews that validate one's own. Interaction with similar others is a likely source of social reinforcement. 2. Fill the void. Everyone has an intrinsic want or void in their lives, and your job is to identify them and exploit them to attract the individual by portraying someone who can fill the void. To compensate for the difficulties in their lives, people spend a lot of their time daydreaming, imagining a future full of adventure, success, and romance. If you can create the illusion that through you, they can live out their dreams, you will have them at your mercy. Aim at secret wishes that have been repressed, stirring up uncontrollable emotions, clouding their powers of reason. Leading the seduced to a point of confusion in which they can no longer tell the difference between illusion and reality. Taking these to the next level is the way you create the right temptation, by giving the target a peek at what will lure them deeply into your seduction. Delights to come. You must arouse an urge in your targets that they are powerless to resist. Discover their vulnerability, hinting that you can guide them in the direction of that unfulfilled desire. The key here is to avoid specifics. Encourage a curiosity greater than the skepticism and worry that accompany it, and they'll stick with you. 3. Invade their soul. Most individuals are stuck in their worlds, which makes them stubborn and difficult to persuade. Enter their spirit to entice them out of their shell and set up your seduction. Follow their rules, appreciate what they prefer, and adjust to their emotions. Indulge your target's every mood and want, leaving nothing for them to react to or reject. With this knowledge, use their narcissism to your advantage by making them listen to say what they want to hear, to fill their ears with whatever is pleasant to them. Inflame people's emotions with loaded phrases, flatter them, comfort their insecurities, envelop them in sweet words and promises, and not only will they listen to you, but they will also lose their will to resist you because you are feeding their narcissism and weakening their defenses. 4. Insinuate. The art of planting ideas in people's minds by dropping elusive hints that take root days later, even appearing to them as their idea. The insinuation is the supreme means of influencing people. Create a sub-language, bold statements followed by retraction and apology, ambiguous comments, banal talk combined with alluring glances, that enters the target's unconscious to convey your real meaning. Make everything suggestive. The way insinuation works are simple. Disguised in a banal remark or encounter, a hint is dropped. It is about some emotional issue, a possible pleasure not yet attained, a lack of excitement in a person's life. The hint registers in the back of the target's mind, a subtle stab at his or her insecurities. Its source is quickly forgotten. It is too subtle to be memorable at the time, and later, when it takes root and grows, it seems to have emerged naturally from the target's mind, as if it was there all along. Insinuation lets you bypass people's natural resistance, for they seem to be listening only to what has originated in themselves. It is a language on its own, communicating directly with the unconscious. No seducer, no persuader, can hope to succeed without mastering the language and art of insinuation. 5. Be unpredictable. Your spell on them has shattered the instant they believe they know what to anticipate from you. Being predictable does two things none of us should want. 1. Makes us easily managed by others who know how we'll react, and 2. Makes us boring. Neither is good for relationships, personal or professional. The only way to hold the upper hand and lead the Lord along is to generate suspense, a deliberate surprise. Doing something unexpected from you will provide them with a lovely sense of spontaneity. They will be unable to predict what will happen next. You are always one step ahead of the game and in command. Give the sufferer a thrill by abruptly changing course. 6. Give gifts and favors. Personalized gifts and unsolicited favor have enormous enticing power, but the gesture and the subtle idea or feeling that it transmits are more essential. Attention to detail has an intoxicating effect. The gesture, the thoughtful gift, and the small touches appear far more genuine and substantial. They are also far more appealing than grandiose phrases about love, since they speak for themselves and allow the persuaded to read more into them than is there. The idea is to probe their desires subtly, such that when you make the exact perfect gesture, it appears eerie, as if you had read their thoughts. Surprises work on the dopamine system in our brain. Giving healthy levels of dopamine drive people to seek and repeat pleasurable activities you gave, thus making them grow addicted to you. 7. Pull back. If your targets grow too used to you as the aggressor, they will expend less energy and the tension will ease. The more frequently you are seen and heard, the more common you appear. When they start having fun and becoming comfortable with you, take a step back, indicate that you are becoming bored and appear to be interested in someone else. And soon you will see that they will begin to pursue you and eventually want to physically possess you, and inhibition will be lost. This is because your retreat will lead to panicky thoughts that you are losing interest, it is somehow their fault, or perhaps it is something they have done. Rather than think you are rejecting them on your own, your targets will want to make this interpretation, since if the cause of the problem is something they have done, they have the power to win you back by changing their behavior. If you are simply rejecting them, on the other hand, they have no control. People always want to preserve hope. Now they will come to you and turn aggressive. 8. Isolate. An isolated person is weak. By slowly isolating your target, you make them more vulnerable to your influence. Take them away from their normal milieu, friends, family, and home. Give them the sense of being marginalized, in limbo. They are leaving one world behind and entering another. Once isolated like this, they have no outside support, and in their confusion, they are easily led astray. Lure the seduced into your lair, where nothing is familiar. 9. Combine pleasure and discomfort. Being excessively kind is the most prevalent blunder in courting. Your friendliness may be endearing at first, but it quickly becomes tedious. You are overly eager to please and look insecure. Instead of being excessively nice to your goals, consider inflicting some discomfort. Make them feel uneasy and self-conscious. Initiate a separation, now a reconciliation, a return to your former compassion, will make them weak at the knees. The higher the highs, the lower the lows. Create a sense of dread to heighten the sensuous energy. Because sensual feeling depends on the creation of tension. Without tension, anxiety, and suspense, there can be no feeling of release, of true pleasure and joy. It is your task to create that tension in the target, to stimulate feelings of anxiety, and to lead them to and from so that the culmination of the seduction has real weight and intensity. Be vigilant when emotions reach their peak. They typically swing the other way, toward lassitude, suspicion, and disappointment. If you must part ways, do so suddenly and fast. If you want to keep a relationship going, keep an eye out for a loss of enthusiasm and a creeping familiarity that will kill the fantasy. Maintain control and never let the other person take you for granted. Instead, utilize absence, sadness, and conflict to keep the other person hooked on. If you are still watching, this means to me that my work is appreciated. To return the favor, I have one more trick for you. 10. Keep it crowded or close. People crowding together raise the psychological temperature to hothouse levels. Festivals and carnivals depend on the contagious feeling a crowd creates. Bring your target to such environments to lower their normal defensiveness. Similarly, any kind of situation that brings people together in a small space for a long period is extremely conducive to persuasion. Either lead the seduced into a crowded, festival-like environment or go trolling for targets in a closed world. Congratulations on staying up to the end. Tell me something I don't know in the comments.
ありがとう。よろしくお願いします。